This is a sidewalk in downtown Houston on a Tuesday morning. People walking to work, coffee in hand, nothing unusual. This is a sidewalk in San Francisco the same Tuesday morning, tents lined up against a building, someone asleep under a blanket on the concrete, a whole encampment right there on the pavement. Same country, same year, same morning. Houston says it cut its homeless population by 64% over 12 years. San Francisco's keeps climbing. The mayor of one city gives speeches about success. The mayor of the other gets recalled. So here's the question that kept nagging at me. Did one city figure something out, or did one city just figure out where to send the problem? Every January, the federal government does something unusual. They send people out one night into every city in America and they count every homeless person they can find. Shelters, streets, cars, underpasses, one night, one snapshot. Here's what January 2024 looked like. California, 12% of America's population, had 30% of America's homeless, about 187,000 people. New York, 158,000. Now Texas, second biggest state, 30 million people, 27,000 homeless. Florida, third biggest state, 31,000. Houston, specifically the fourth largest city in the country, 2.3 million people, about 3,200. San Francisco, less than 1/10 of Houston's population, about 8,300 homeless. That means San Francisco, a city of less than 500,000, has 2.5 times more homeless people than Houston, a city nearly 5 times its size. Put all of this on a map and it's not random. There's a pattern. The West Coast is glowing, the Northeast is glowing, Texas is dim, Florida is dim, the entire South is dim. Now homelessness isn't caused by palm trees or sunshine, so what's actually making the map look like this? Let's start with the dim parts of the map. Texas, Florida, Arizona, the cities where the streets look clean and the numbers look low. The easy explanation is that those cities just handled it better. Tougher leadership, less tolerance for disorder, and the problem went away. Sure, maybe, but if a homeless person doesn't want to live in one of these cities, how exactly did they leave? Walking, hitchhiking? Or did someone hand them a ticket? There's a term for this. It's called Greyhound therapy. It's not slang, it's an official enough concept to have its own page on Wikipedia. It means giving a homeless person a one-way bus ticket out of your city and calling it a solution. San Diego runs a program called Homeward Bound. They pay for a one-way bus ticket and call it family reunification. Sometimes the family is real. Sometimes the family is a phone number that nobody answered. The ticket gets paid for either way. New York City ran a version of this roughly 38,000 times between 2007 and 2024. San Francisco started offering bus tickets before shelter beds, before any services at all. 41% of homeless people surveyed there in 2024 said they were living in another city or state when they lost their housing. But buses are only half of it. In 2021, Texas passed a statewide law making it a criminal offense to camp in any public place. Sleep on the wrong sidewalk, that's an arrest. Florida passed its own version in 2024. Same idea, sit in the wrong spot in Miami, you get picked up. Phoenix tears down encampments every single week. Same tents, same people, different corner again, then eventually different city. Imagine your neighbor's snow shovel. He doesn't melt the snow. He doesn't pile it on his own lawn. He just pushes it onto your driveway. From his window, his sidewalk is clean. From his perspective, he solved the snow. None of these policies house anyone. They don't create a single bed, a single room, a single key. They just make staying impossible. So they leave, and the question becomes, go where? Now look at the glowing parts of the map. San Francisco, LA, New York, Seattle, the cities where the numbers keep climbing and the streets keep getting worse. The easy explanation here is that those cities failed. Too soft, too generous, they attracted homeless people by being too kind to them. Half true, there is a pull, but the question isn't why are they coming, the question is where else were they supposed to go? About 40% of America's homeless services budget concentrates in just 5 cities. The shelters are there, the clinics are there, the caseworkers are there. If you got pushed out of Phoenix last Tuesday, you go where someone will actually hand you a blanket. New York City has been legally required to shelter anyone who asks since 1981. A court case called Callahan versus Carey made it law. The city cannot say no. So when another city hands someone a bus ticket to Port Authority, New York has to take them in. That's not generosity, that's a court order. LA won't freeze you to death in February. San Francisco won't arrest you for sitting on a sidewalk, or at least, it didn't until recently. These cities became the only places where survival on the street was physically possible and legally tolerated at the same time. Imagine a rainstorm hitting a city block. Most buildings have no awning. One building has a wide overhang. Where does everyone stand? Under the overhang. Now imagine someone counting the crowd and saying that building must be attracting people. No, the other buildings just have no roof. And here's the part everyone misses about Houston. Houston actually did something right. They went all in on a model called housing first, give someone a key first, ask questions later. It works. 64% reduction over 12 years is real. 90% of people placed stayed housed after 2 years. But Houston has cheap land, no rules about what you can build where. They can put up supportive housing, an apartment with a caseworker and a key, at roughly 1/4 the cost of doing the same thing in Los Angeles. The same exact policy in San Francisco would cost 4 times as much and run into a decade of permitting battles before a single unit gets built. The Houston model only works in Houston. The cities under the overhang aren't failing because they tried less. They're catching the rain that fell off everyone else's roof. So here's where the math gets uncomfortable. Houston's count went down by 64%. That sounds like progress for America, but look at the national total. In January 2024, 771,000 people were counted homeless across the country. That's the highest number ever recorded, 18% higher than the year before. If Houston's numbers went down and the national total went up, those people have to be somewhere. Picture a neighborhood with a trash problem. One household decides to clean up. Every Sunday they put bags out by the curb, except they don't pay the trash company. They just walk the bags around the corner and leave them in the alley behind the next street. Their lawn is gorgeous, the alley is a disaster, the neighborhood total didn't change. That's the American homeless map. The bags didn't get picked up, they got moved. And here's the strange accounting trick that makes it all work. The cities doing the pushing get to call it success. The cities catching the overflow get called failures. The federal government counts each city's lawn separately. Nobody counts the alley. The total cost of the system isn't lower. It's actually higher because the cities that end up catching people are the most expensive places to be homeless in. A homeless person in California costs the system roughly 3 times what one costs in Texas. The shelters cost more, the land costs more, the emergency rooms cost more, everything costs more. So every bus ticket out of Phoenix, every camping ban in Miami, every weekly sweep in Austin, none of that saves America money. It raises the bill. It takes a $14,000 a year problem and relocates it to a $50,000 a year city. The people didn't disappear, they moved to the most expensive zip codes in the country. And both the sending city and the receiving city now get to argue about whose fault it is. Step back and look at all three together. Some cities push, camping bans, weekly sweeps, one-way bus tickets, they make staying impossible. Some cities pull, shelter laws, services, mild winters, the only overhang on the block. They become the last place left to stand. And the cost shifts, it doesn't shrink. It moves from cheap places to expensive places, raising the national bill while local mayors take credit for cleaning their own lawn. So what does the homeless map of America actually show? Not which cities are kind, not which cities are competent, not which mayor has the right plan. It shows which direction the rain is falling, it shows where the snow gets shoveled, it shows where the alley is. Houston didn't solve homelessness. Houston solved Houston's homelessness. Those are not the same sentence. One is a city achievement, the other is national accounting. The man who used to sleep under a bridge in Phoenix isn't gone. He's in Los Angeles now. He costs 3 times more, and both mayors get to give a speech. So here's the question I'll leave you with. When a city says it solved homelessness, did it actually solve homelessness, or did it solve its address? The national count is at an all-time high, 771,000 people on a single night. Some cities' counts are dropping. The math only works one way. The people didn't disappear, they moved, and the cost moved with them to the most expensive place we could find.